Hello everyone, Dirk here from MTG Nostalgia, and I'm back. I've been away for a while. I had lots to do. There's lots of stuff going on in my life right now, so sorry because I didn't upload a video in quite a while. And I'm a bit late to the game, but nevertheless I'm here with Commander 2016 with one of the decks. I have managed to get a hold of this deck here. For those of you who don't know, Commander is a format which was invented by some MTG judges who wanted to have something to do between the official matches and played a format where you play 100 card decks. It's a singleton format, so you can only have one of each card in this deck, except for basic lands. And yeah, for me it actually was a way to get back into Magic after quite a while. A friend introduced me to that format, and it was a way for me to look through my old collection of cards and find some old favorites and build a deck around it. For those of you who don't have a collection, one of these decks might be a good way to get into this. I'm gonna get right into this now. You can see this is our commander. This is an oversized card, Saskia the Unyielding. You can see there are 4 colors here. Blue is missing, and there's a 5-color cycle of decks. So there's a blueless, a redless, a greenless, and so on deck. And each year Magic produces one cycle of these decks. There's also 3 extra commanders. We're going to get to them in a minute. And the deck is called Open Hostility. Saskia the Unyielding thrives in brutal combat, calling upon vicious hordes to crush their adversary underfoot. Saskia's strikes always find their mark, cleaving through any foe that stands between her and the focus of her fury. This is her. I'm gonna get to her now. I've actually, this is the second deck of the series. Over Christmas I was able to meet up with a friend of mine. We each got one of the other decks, and we tested them against each other. They were, yeah, mainly balanced, but I think that one of the commanders, the one he got, was a bit stronger. It was the artifact one, the non-green one. You can see this is Saskia, oversized, foil. You get this box. You get a sheet. It gives you information on the characters in this, about Saskia and the 3 minor commanders, Timna the Weaver, Ravos Soul Tender, and Tana the Bloodsower. You also get a card list here, and I think there's a short rules description, yeah, in here, but mainly when you play Commander you should be familiar with the basics of Magic, so you should have played before, because with 100 different cards in a Commander deck and lots of the people on the table playing each one of those decks, there's going to be a very complicated board state usually after quite a while. So you should be familiar with the basics of the game. Yeah. Anyway, you get this basic rules overview, and let's get to this now. This is the deck. You should also probably get some sleeves, because there are actually quite some cool white valuable cards in this. You get a normal sized version of your 4-color commander. Saskia has vigilance and haste, and as she enters the battlefield you choose a player, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. It's pretty straightforward. You can see it's the non-blue one, so this is pretty straightforward creature deck, not a lot of thinking. So she even has haste, so when you even in a one-on-one, when you attack with her, she's going to deal 3 damage to a player and then 3 more, so 6 for example. These are the other commanders, and they all have a new mechanic called partner. So you can either use her as a commander, or 2 of those if they both have partner. And all of these decks have 4 of these foil cards, 3 partner commanders and 1 4-color commander. And you can see, for example, this is the non-blue version, and you have one commander of the allied colors and 2 of the enemy color combinations. I'm guessing Wizards is doing this because there are more commanders, more legends in allied colors in existence, so they want to level the playing field a bit. Ravos Soul Tender, it's a human cleric, 2/2 for 5 mana. He has good flying, and other creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's quite nice. Might also be a good addition to a cube, because white and black might also make for a good weenie strategy with creature tokens and so on, and he's got an Anthem effect going on. Tana the Bloodsower is an elf druid, so this might work also in an elf tribal deck. 2/2 with trample, and whenever she deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green Saproling creature tokens. She also has partner. They might work well together. Timna the Weaver is a 2/2 lifelinker, and at the beginning of your post-combat main phase you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. That's a nice card advantage you have there. And then each of these commander decks has some creature tokens, so you get some Saprolings here, 10 of those, and they're double-sided, so they're, I think there's only Saprolings in here. The other decks also have 10 creature tokens each, and in the other decks they are double-sided because there's some cards that produce different tokens. I didn't know that this deck only produced Saprolings, so well, there you go. Learn something new every day. And now for the deck, White of Precinct 6, 1/1 zombie, and these decks are fixed. So when you buy another Saskia deck, you're gonna get these exact 100 cards plus 10 tokens. Quirion Explorer, Sakura Tribe Elder, which is a staple in Commander. So this might also work. You might play this deck a few times, and then you might go from there, if you like the Commander format, to either harvest this deck and build a new deck, or exchange some cards, take out some of the weaker cards that you don't get around to play, and then maybe put in some cards that you bought online, singles, or from your collection or so on. But this is a very good staple card. Silver Explorer, that's also very good. It's a good mana dog, because when you're playing 4 color, it's very probable that you're gonna get a useful mana out of him. Corroster Guild Mage, Zurta Druid, Selesnya Guild Mage, Wilderness Elemental, Skullclamp, that's an old favorite. It's banned, I think, in Modern. It can be a very powerful creature, especially when you kill some of your tokens and then get 2 cards for it for a measly amount of mana. Soul Ring, absolute staple. It's a card from Alpha. 1 mana. It's an artifact that gives you 2 mana. Absolute staple. Felwa Stone, I think that was from the Dark. It's also very good in a 4-color deck. You can also add mana that your opponent can produce. And in a 4-color deck, that's very, very usable. Signe for mana fixing. Lightning Greaves, quite a popular equipment, because gives a creature haste and shroud. Shroud, your opponents can't target your creature, but you also can't target it, so that's the difference between Shroud and Hexproof. But if you have a good creature, a good commander, put it on and he's pretty much safe. Commander Sphere, that's a staple. Evolutionary Escalation. That's actually one of the cards that I would exchange. I would put that out and put another card into it. I don't know, maybe a Giant Growth or anything. I don't like this card very much. I have to test it though. Necrogenesis, Frenzied Fugue, Boros Charm, Terminate. That's nice, destroy target creature. Absent Charm, Naya Charm, Grab the Rain, Sylvan Reclamation. That's double card here. Order and Chaos. Some versatility, Farseek. Some mana fixing, Rampant Growth. Mana fixing. Land Tutoring, Charging Cinderhorn, Stonehoof Chieftain, 8/8 Trample and Indestructible, and whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains Trample and Indestructible until end of turn. And when you have your commander out and yeah, your opponents are gonna be dealt a lot of damage quite soon. Primeval Protector, 11 mana, but it costs 1 less to cast for each creature your opponent controls. Very nice. It's a 10/10. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. So, for example, all your Saproling tokens. Conqueror's Flail. For each color among permanents you control, it gets +1/+1. So it works in these 4-color decks. Even when you get a hold of a 5-color commander, it might work in there. Undaunted is another new mechanic for this Commander edition. It costs 1 mana less to cast for each opponent. So Commander usually play with 3 or 4 people, and so it gets cheaper. Exile 2 target creature, and for each of those creatures, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card and puts that card onto the battlefield, then shovels the rest into his or her library. Can be a bit risky, but yeah, it can also be fun. Brutal Horde Chief, it's one of the cards that is signified as mythic. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And for 3 and red or white, creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how those creatures block. That can be very nice if you want maybe to get your big green dudes through. They can all block one of your Saprolings or so on. This is one of the gods from Theros. They also actually make quite nice commanders, though. You actually may try to build a commander deck around one of these gods. Quite nice. They're enchantment creatures, indestructible, and they turn into creatures when you reach a certain devotion. So when you have enough mana symbols on permanents out. If you don't have the devotion, they are only an enchantment. And so they cannot, for example, be hit by creature removal. And he's also indestructible, even when he's an enchantment. Then Protector, Mentor of the Meek, Mirror Entity, it's a Changeling. And until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types if you pay X. So if you have a lot of Saproling tokens, this might be a very powerful finisher. Alicia, who smiles at death, 3/2 first striker. When she attacks, you may pay white or black and white or black. And if you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Maybe one of those commanders if you play them, because they all have power 2 or less. Yeah, it's true for all of them except for the 4-color commander. Taurian Mauler, Mana Gorger Hydra. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Mana Gorger Hydra. If your opponents don't get some creature removal on that, it's gonna get pretty big pretty soon. Because when you play a spell, she's gonna get bigger, and when your opponents play a spell, they're gonna get bigger, and they're gonna have to watch out when they play, for example, a Lightning Bolt, because if this Hydra is already 3/3 and 3/3, sorry, and they play a Lightning Bolt, she's gonna get to a 4/4, and then the 3 damage is not gonna kill the Hydra. Wild Beastmaster, Dauntless Escort, Thelonite Hermit, nice throwback to Fallen Empires with the Thelonites. Mycoloth, Devour. There's lots of different mechanics in this, so you should maybe look through all of your cards, because there's lots of different mechanics. Yeah, it's gonna get pretty complicated pretty soon, the average commander game. Thunderfoot Belloth, Stalking Vengeance, Sunforger, Blind Obedience, Beastmaster Ascension, Everlasting Torment, Breath of Fury, Artifact Mutations, Aura Mutation, Crackling Doom, Utter End. That's a nice staple for commander play. Exile target non-land permanent. Takes care of a lot of stuff. Creatures, enchantments, planeswalkers. And we get to the mana base. Each of those 5 commander decks in this series was designed by a different person, so the mana bases are very different. You of course have your basic lands, but you also have some utility lands, some dual lands, and you should maybe look at a deck list before, if you're looking for specific lands, for example, this Pain land, if you maybe want to pimp up your other green and white decks, you should have a look at the list, because there are some quite interesting lands, or quite useful lands in some of those decks. Caves of Koilos, Dragon's Skull Summit, I really like those lands. If you control one of the basic lands of these colors, they enter untapped. Exotic Orchard, very good for a 4-color deck. Grand Colosseum, that is similar to a City of Brass, although if you only need colorless mana, you don't have to ping yourself for it. Kaplusan Forest, I actually need that for another deck, but I'm gonna test this deck out before I do it. One of the Pain lands from Ice Age. Mosswood Bridge with Hideaway. This land enters the battlefield tapped. And when it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library, and you can then play this card, the hidden card, without paying its mana cost if you have total power of 10 or greater among your creatures. Rootbound Crag, a very nice land. Spinerock Knoll, another hideaway land. Sunpetal Grove, Windbrisk Heights. Oh, that's a spell. Grave Upheaval, Treacherous Terrain. Some basic lands. Ash Barrens. This is one of the new fixing lands. It's quite nice. I think this might also find its way into many cubes if you're into that. If you're into building a cube, basic land cycling 1, or if you just need some mana, you can play it and have it for colorless. Command Tower, another commander staple, adds 1 mana of any color that you need, because it's in your commander's color identity, and all the cards in your commander deck should have the color of your commander. No outside colors. So there's no blue cards in this deck. Evolving Wilds, Gruul Turf, Jungle Shrine, Nomad Outpost, Orzo of Basilica, Sandstep Citadel, Savage Lands, and Terramorphic Expanse. It's a reprint, it's a functional reprint of Evolving Wilds. So, I hope you have gotten a bit of insight into how these new commander decks look. I got a pretty good deal on them. I think I got mine for 22 euros. I think they mostly cost around 25 to 30 euros. But there's lots of good cards in here. If you want to get into the commander format, you should check one of these decks out and just try them at Friday Night Magic and have fun. And until then, I promise to bring up some more videos next time. Until then, check out my other videos, leave a like, and bye bye.